Hi, my name is Ayomide. Welcome to the World Without People podcast, where we journey into some pretty amazing stories of everyday people. I believe strongly in the interconnectedness of our human experience, that we can color and enrich our lives by sharing and learning from our lived experiences. In this concise podcast, I bring to you engaging conversations like a chapter in a vibrant book, designed to motivate and encourage and challenge and, of course, brighten your day. My guests also get to ask me one question, and there's no telling what they might come up with. So thank you for tuning in. Grab your coffee or tea, or listen on the go to some amazing stories of real people. After all, what is a world without people? Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The World Without People. My name is Ayomide, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm always excited, but I'm really excited today because I am talking to none other than Demilade Roberts. I feel like you're a celebrity on your own recognizance. Is that how you say it? Hi, Demilade. Welcome.
Hi, Ayomide. I'm well, and I get this whole celebrity thing a lot, but it's other people's perception, it's not my perception. I'm
Well,
just I'm just a local champion in this Lagos.
I love it. And it's good that you can be a local champion in Lagos without actually doing like crazy things, Like I feel like the people that are usually celebrities are known for the worst of things. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I mean, to each his own, and everybody just having fun, to be honest. So I guess it is what it
awesome.
is.
Awesome. So the first thing I saw that made me be like, okay, I need to have you on here is this quote or the statement I'm quoting, which says, "This is the first time I'll join a social media app as a single guy. Lol, wahala." And I'm like, wait, what? Like, come back, come back, come back. What did I miss? Where have I been? What's happening on social media that I don't know about? So let me first of all ask you like this. How many people entered the DM with that?
I mean, like the statement said, this is my first time getting onto a social media platform as a single person. It was Threads, so
Mm-hmm.
not many people, I think, saw it, have seen it, will see it, and it felt like a safe space to basically put that information on a public platform without having the people come into my DMs. Because on Instagram, people have been in my DMs for the past 2.5 years. Like, what's going on? Like, there's some random tweets that people have sent to me, like people randomly asking what's going on or if I'm still married and things like that. But yeah, so thankfully, nobody rushed into my DMs on that platform, which was the main aim of me being able to share because I am a sharer, but Twitter and Instagram have become such a wild place.
It really has
Yeah.
because I've been following you for years, and I don't know how or why. I think it was just from back in my blogger days, and I've seen you always be a sharer. But like, I can't do Twitter again, for example, because I was just like, nah, this is not a safe space anymore. And so this is probably why I missed some of these things that were happening. And Instagram, like how the algorithm has changed, so you don't really see things or whatever.
You don't see your friends
Um,
anymore.
Right, right. And I'm cautious about it because I don't go to other random pages, but
Mhm.
like I totally missed everything that happened. So I guess just to be blunt, what happened? Why are we single?
That usually happens, well, single after marriage usually happens because there was a divorce. Or,
Duh, thank you very much.
but
The details, the nitty gritty. And obviously, safe space, but
safe
as much
space
as you
here.
can
But
tell.
I am not really going to go into nitty gritty or details. I am only going to share real life, real life lessons that
Mm-mm.
I've learned on this journey, dealing with it, handling it, understanding the different emotions and feelings and levels of communication needed, not having any outbursts. This is the reason why, because you didn't miss anything on social media because nothing happened on social media. It
Okay,
was
fair.
it was a very, very wholesome experience. Painful and heartbreaking,
Mm.
immensely heartbreaking. A lot of therapy and healing.
Okay.
a lot of communication through the storm. So I'm going to share quite some things with you. Actually, I'm going to be rather open with some of the things I have noted, taken to heart, the journey through. So, but pretty much like every other marriage comes the tests. A lot of
Right.
people don't realize, but if you say you love someone and you decide to get on a journey with that someone, there are going to be tests
Right.
to your claim. And I speak to a lot of people because a lot of people actually come to ask me questions because of what I've shared in the past and what they know me to be to what I know. And because I've had a whole journey with teaching in church and having this whole Christian journey toward becoming a husband, and I've been really open about it. Also dealing with drug addiction and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy when people come to me to ask questions and like just ask for advice or like genuinely want me to share something. And I can tell when people genuinely just want to hear and learn or be inspired or genuinely concerned as opposed to people that want to hear gist. Because these
Right.
people, they are ignorant to them. They just want to hear the gist. And
Right.
sometimes I indulge people with some ridiculous aspects of the story and it just shuts them up like, yeah, I shouldn't have asked in the first place.
Right.
Anyway, so we got married. Fantastic. Within the first 6 months, we had to move to a new apartment. And I say we had to because we moved in on the day Buhari announced lockdown in Nigeria.
Oh.
Yeah, so it wasn't 6 months. It was, yeah, maybe we moved in. It was the lockdown was called in March anyway of 2020.
Hmm.
So we're getting to the first year of our marriage with a pandemic, global pandemic. So first of all our first year plans, investments, business plans, contracts,
Hmm. Out the
everything
window.
out the window, not knowing what was going to happen, if it was going to come back, when it was going to come back,
Hmm.
and no means of planning, just to survive.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, we made investments in house, new businesses, inventory in terms of shipping. So, like, things like we do as a married couple, like we move into a new house, we're doing budgeting, we're doing blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. I mean, it's all fun and interesting and challenging, and then it becomes real.
Hmm.
Now, there's a little to our background story because we've been friends. Well, we were friends and still friends, and we've been friends for about 13 for 14 years. Dated for about 3.5 before we got married, and lived together before we also got married. So, I mean, on paper, it should literally just work, right? I mean,
Hmm.
we've been friends for a long time, but the friendship was really, really rocky. I would take responsibility as my fault because I didn't come into realization with my emotions towards her long after she was already there.
Hmm.
So that patience, that endurance, that experience wasn't kind on her. And I
Hmm.
take responsibility because I can claim, yeah, I mean, I'll just live my life. I wasn't obligated to any responsibilities,
Right.
but it takes a toll on someone. So we finally get together, finally moving together. It's all rosy, a lot, immense amount of communication. I can't stress communication enough because it's literally what's guided us through everything. That's throwing bricks or finger pointing,
Hmm.
name calling, animosity.
I love that.
Um, yeah. So it got to a point in the COVID year, we were both struggling. But I mean, coming from a position of being on this, because I went on a full on spiritual journey, I went into Bible school. The moment we became an item and became exclusive to each other and became a boyfriend and girlfriend and we moved in together, I went straight to the church,
Hmm.
joined Bible school, did like 7 courses, one with Pastor Tony, you know, got into ministry, started teaching. I wanted to be that guy.
Hmm.
I wanted to be that guy, and I wanted to be that guy because I wanted to be worthy of being a husband and
Hmm.
not for God, which was something I came into
It's a
realization.
good distinction.
Yeah,
Good distinction.
which was something I came into realization when the battle for my marriage started because I was literally on my knees with God. I was, okay, Baba, Kilo Shele. Because I knew I was walking with you, but why are we here? Spiritual meanings to all of this. It got tough. And no matter how many times she said she wasn't ready, she can't do this, she doesn't want to hold me back, she can forgive me for the things I did in the past that she couldn't hold me against because she was in no position to.
Right.
All of that just boiling in her head, and all of a sudden she's a wife, and yo, everything should just pause.
Mm.
So she couldn't deal with it, and I mean, I suggested, let's take a break. So left the house with him. So when lockdown was eased, and we were both priority professionals
Mm.
during the lockdown, so we were moving around. I was doing drone work for the Lagos states for the state governor, and she was, of course, she's in media, so she had to be on
Right.
TV and recording news every day. So moved out, both got COVID, NSAS happened, went back into the house because nowhere was safe, worked on it a little, had a great end of last quarter of the year, but also something significantly happened that year in terms of business. And I was in a legal dispute with supposed to be business partner.
Mm.
I was in and out of police stations, lawyers, moving around with lawyers, couldn't concentrate. And to the point where I just had to break loose and go open your social media and drop this series of videos to just keep the whole situation, like to control the narrative of the whole situation because it was crazy.
Mm.
And at the end of 2020, she decided that she didn't want to live together anymore. Not a thing of she needed space. It was she needs time and space, and she doesn't want me in that time and space journey because she doesn't know how she's going to act. It will be unfair to me, and honestly, I need to focus on my focus.
Right.
Now, at this point, my whole world was in disarray. Okay, I was fighting for my business, understanding why I'm in and out of police stations, trying to get to the bottom of being falsely accused and somebody threatening my life, coming to my places of business, coming to my home.
Mm.
So, what does a young Christian brother like me do? I run to God.
Mm.
I'm like, God, what do I do at this point in time? And this is January 2021. God says, go and study the book of Proverbs.
Okay.
Because I mean, you are going to ask me questions about business, right?
Right.
Which is very significant to the story of growing apart with my marriage and coming to a decision for a divorce because I didn't want it to end. I wasn't going to push for a divorce. Let me not jump. The book of Proverbs. I studied that book for the first month, and this is the book that I've been studying since Teen Church in House on the Rock. Since I
Right.
think you just read a chapter a day, front
Mm.
back every month,
Mm.
and I've been doing it since my teen. So when God says we study the book of Proverbs, it was like in my mind I was like, okay, that's a very familiar instruction.
Right.
I'm down with that. And for the first time in all my years, I mean, we all know the verse. It's better to stay in the desert than to be in the same house with a nagging wife.
Mm.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate the message version because the Bible that was gifted to me when I got married was a Bible that had both New King James and message version.
Oh, I
And
love
that
it.
version says, yes, that version says nagging spouse,
Mm.
which I appreciate because the niggas be nagging too.
Amen. I feel like, I part of why I really wanted to have this conversation with you is because you're a guy too. Like, I think you need to speak what guys do that they don't like. Oh my gosh. Okay, continue. Sorry.
So the Bible instructs when you're in contention with your spouse, or when your spouse wants to contend with you, you don't fight back. You excuse the entire situation, including the house. Is a biblical instructions.
Oh
Disappear.
shit.
Just leave.
Mm.
If you are wanted, you will feel it.
Right.
And if you are not wanted,
You know.
it says it 4 times in the book of wisdom. Four
Wow.
times.
Now I have to go
The,
look at
de-
that.
the desert, the roof of the house, or in a deserted and broken down barn. And
Hmm.
again, it says the desert is better than a house, not a home,
Hmm.
than a house with a nagging. No, it doesn't say nagging in the message version. It says with a contentious spouse.
Hmm.
No, I don't like using the word nagging. People are allowed to contend, regardless of how they feel. But
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
that's fair game. You
Right.
feel what you
Right.
feel, you can
Right.
express it.
Right.
So people are allowed to. It's your reaction. And again, people really need to realize that your feelings are very valid,
Hmm.
but they're not necessarily important. They are two different things. And this is something
Agreed.
that if you work spiritually with God, He will separate for you very, very easy.
Hmm.
Like your feelings are cool, oh, deal with them. They are your responsibility. Nobody else is in the world, not even God's.
Right. Right. Because they're not
So,
facts.
because they're not facts. Your feelings are
Yeah.
not truth. It's just how you feel. It's valid, but it's not
Right.
important. It's not truth.
Right.
It will pass.
Right.
It will pass, and then what
Right.
do you do then
Mm.
after you've expressed nonsense, thinking you have the right or the authority or the obligation?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So the devil has really infiltrated the generation with this feeling stuff.
Mm.
But they all get the message soon.
I know we can have a whole conversation about that. Yeah,
They'll all
absolutely.
get the message soon.
Mm.
So there I am at the end, comforted by the words. I stay away, but of course, keep communication. I mean, our lives are literally so intertwined. So I left the house because she was going to leave, and I was like, no, why leave? Because again, another thing a lot of men need to be taught, and I feel like marriage counseling should be a general subject and not for people that just want to marry, because there are life lessons you need to put in place with every relationship. But a
Mm.
lot of people in this whole you move into your husband's house that they teach young girls
Mm.
needs to first of all be abolished. Because a
Mm.
lot of men now carry it on their chest that yes, I have a wife,
It's their
but
house. Mm.
never actually thinking about that maybe you are also in your wife's house.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you bought the house, yeah, you're paying the rent, but if she doesn't feel like she has ownership of that main asset as shelter, she's
Right.
never going to actually feel safe because she's going to keep
Mm.
thinking it's her house and one day she get kicked
Be
out.
told to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, why would you let somebody you claim in
Mm.
front of the altar of God to love feel that kind of way?
Mm.
So the moment both of you move into that house, knowing that society has indoctrinated into the girl child and the male child that the woman moves into her husband's house,
Mm.
you need to make her feel like she's moved into her house and she's not just under another regime from her father to another man. She has commanding control over this regime.
Okay. Okay.
So
Preach, preacher.
that's is I mean, this is how we were raised too. But so these are the foundations to which I was like, no, don't worry. I'll come taking my things more small. So
Right.
there are a lot of places I can stay based on family and stuff. So yeah, so that was 2021. And of course, there was therapy and me also being a graduate of psychology. I also have cousins who are graduates of psychology who actually pushed me to therapy because they didn't want me self-medicating. Thinking, yeah,
Right.
I can handle everything. But so yeah, went to therapy and turns out I actually knew what I was doing. Not because I read my books well, because because I had like 2 extra years in Unilag for psychology. But I mean, I was studying the Bible and praying and communicating through it because I was running mad, crying sorrowfully, being alone in a house. I moved into one of the family houses, 5 bedroom, somewhere in Korea, and I was there every night. But one thing I was focused on was work. So I was building both companies, my real estate company, Rafter Properties, and Black Canvas with some very, very backbone type partners. So there was a lot of work to do every single day, a lot of moving around, a lot of work. So that kept me focused, that kept me busy, that kept me on track. And in the nights when I want to delve into my thoughts, I just told Jesus and the Holy Spirit, I say, oh yeah, let's go.
Mm.
And I move. So I can't emphasize enough on communication, not just with whoever you're in love with or your partner, but with yourself. And that's the spirit in you, and that's the prayer. Very important for whatever journey one's going on. So we try our best to make it work. There are some scenarios that came about that we needed to do together, which were nice. These things happen. And I had to be careful of vortex, which one of my mentors warned me about. It's a place where emotionally, because you're so attached to someone and because there's no animosity with that person, any small hope in being together, you hold on to it. And you find yourself holding on to it for like 10, 15 years.
Mm.
She told me this because this is what happened to her. I mean, like
Mm.
after 18 years of marriage, like she's in her 60s now or something. But after like 18 years of marriage, her husband just decides just wants to do his thing. These are people that have built businesses together, assets all over the world.
Mm.
They're very comfortable. We're not lacking. Okay, come and divorce, and he doesn't move. And she's just hoping for 10 years.
Yeah.
And nothing happens. She now makes the move. And then
Mm.
the back and forth now goes on for another 6 years. And that's where the vortex comes in.
Yeah.
And for me, I got tired of that. The vortex is controlled by your emotions, and I
Okay.
knew where I stood with my emotions. If I wasn't wanted, I'm not going to act wanted. It's because, to be honest, and let me go back to some the spiritual battles. I had a mental breakdown one day. I was staying in a hotel somewhere in Ikoyi, and I just couldn't move work. I was with my brother Mufe. My business partner came to meet me. I called my mom. So my mom just left the office, came outside with me. And we just chilled the entire day by the pool, eating pizza and just gisting. And then she highlighted the story of Moses. Hear me out. Now let me ask you something. In the story of Moses going to feed the Israelites, splitting the sea, getting everybody out,
Right.
cracking the rock, spilling water, going to the mountain, doing all those wonderful things. You understand? What happened to Zipporah and the boys? Have you ever thought about that story? Have you ever thought or wondered what happened to them?
Oh, I guess I just figured that, spiritually
They
they
were there.
were one. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, but Bible doesn't mention them
Hmm.
at all.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
nobody has asked. Why?
Hmm.
Because what was more important was what God's will for Moses'
Well,
journey and the people of Israel.
right.
And that was what my mother opened up my eyes to. And then in one of the days where I'm praying and I'm sorrowfully, I'm just in my room and I was like, God, what's going on? Why am I here? Blah, blah, blah. You led me here. Was this your plan? And God says, Demilade, I assure you that you do not love this woman more than I do. And we both know her pain.
Hmm.
We both know her stand, both know the journey that she has to make. We both understand it. And yes, she has confessed to being confused and she doesn't know what to do. And she wants to do it on alone. And she doesn't want to drag you along with her on this journey, even though that's what she voted for. And she's not going to accept it because she wants to do it on her own. If you fight me, my son, for the love of this woman, I will prove to you that you do not love her. Aha! So it says, focus on the work I sent you to go and do. Like I did Moses. Leave this one to me. Is marriage you want, I mean? Problem. So these were the journeys spiritually and conversations having with God that helped me in my journey of not fighting at the same time being there, not seeking audience, but at the same time communicating,
Right.
understanding the new boundaries, also upholding the responsibility of partnership, accepting you can't control, but at the same time deciding.
Hmm. Actually, stay there. Stay there for a second because yeah, because that's a very big thing that I go against with God all the time, right? It's like I know I can't control. So let me give you an example. Dating apps, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, get on the dating app, get on the dating apps. And I know myself, right? I know that I'm not really good with dating apps. It's just not something that I feel like I can do properly, right? But there's also I feel like God is in control of who I'm going to meet, when I'm going to meet, all of that, right? I don't want to be in the business of deciding, God, okay, I should be, let me open myself up. Let me do the part that I'm supposed to do, right? And then you're going to then use that seemingly openness of my decision to now, make things happen. So for me, I go back and forth with that. God, I've decided that I'm trusting you completely on this, but I don't want to control it by then being open with where I'm supposed to be or how I make myself available. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and I like that you're having this battle and journey with God on this aspect of Kenny because you got to ask him a lot of questions, and you know
Mm-hmm.
it'll surprise you. So I mean, I was going to ask because I mean on your WhatsApp profile picture, there's a picture of you and kid, and I was going to ask if you're
Oh,
married. Yeah.
no, no, no. That's my
So
nephew.
okay, now. So I wasn't sure how to prepare my approach to
Question?
this topic. No, no, not my question for you.
Okay.
I mean, that was going to be my one question to ask you something about marriage, but I'm now
So,
thinking. I think of another one anyway. So
okay.
I'm going to read something for you,
Okay.
and maybe it's a good thing that you're. It's not a good thing that you're not married. That I'm not married. That
Yes.
yet, but I like to speak to a lot of people who haven't made the decision yet
Mm-hmm.
because there's a whole lot of misconception to the journey and to the relationship that single people will never, ever, ever get until they are entered with their two legs
Right.
and stood inside for at least a whole day. Because marriages end in one day. And you'll be wondering,
100%
and
actually.
people will be asking, oh my God, what happened? Can Can I tell you something? Do you
Yeah,
know that? I mean, people don't think about it much, but all marriages end.
believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
At some point or the other, somebody has been like, I'm leaving.
All marriages end. Even like the literally the last two words of the marriage vow, the globally accepted marriage vow that every couple says at the altar in front of God. The last two words are us part. Every marriage ends.
Mm,
Either with your death
mm,
or death of the new one. So
mm.
let me read something for you.
Okay.
To have and to hold, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, till death do us part. It's funny, all my life growing up, I'd heard these words in many movies, and in the decade I was documenting weddings, it became a part of my work routine.
Mm,
It came to move into position to capture the moment two people signed their lives off to each other. 1 year into it, and it just clicked. These vows are 50% bad vibes and 100% till death. I was always confident when it came to wedding talks, from planning to execution. I mean, photographers and videographers are paid literally to observe events and take notes with imagery. There really wasn't any scenario I found myself in with anyone who had been to weddings more than I did. 7 terabytes in external memory to prove what I am saying.
mm.
Anyway, let's break it down. You might not have heard this deep explanation to what this journey called marriage is, and the vows are said way too often and mostly for entertainment than
Mm,
for sincerity.
right.
It's watered down and abused. To have and to hold, you don't just drop what you have, you hold it with
Mm,
pride and with your life. For better, for worse, we were all over ourselves as friends, then became more understanding and exclusive and deeper in love as an item. Then, how about we take this into forever and then we say, I do?
mm,
The relationship definitely got to a better place, but worse because we don't know each other as husband and wife.
mm,
We moved into a bigger and better house, but worse because it's not the cozy tiny one we were once used to. And gosh, what are these new rules? We
mm.
got better jobs, but now we don't have time for each other. I can go on, but it's still for richer, for poorer.
Right.
We said I do, so yeah, there was a wedding and a honeymoon, shopping sprees, and presents. Well, I cleared, and so did bank accounts. Well, chop life has ended. It's now time to build life.
Mm,
So yeah, bigger house because we're richer, which meant bigger bills, so we're
mm,
poorer. Yeah, we're rich, so we took a holiday, but poorer because we came back home. Richer because the new cars have come, but poorer because the maintenance is more.
right.
Oh, we have staff now. Cool. We pay salaries now. Shit. Let's not even go into the numbers of the cost of running new businesses.
Mm,
Then there's the sickness and health.
mm,
Notice how this vow starts with the bad? Yep, because both of you are definitely sick in the head to ruin the fun you are having, to commit to such madness. But do not be afraid, because if you handle the first two vows right, you will grow in health. But that is just the emotional aspect, because we both had COVID-19. So there's
mm,
that part too. So remembering to cherish the healthy times while handling the dynamics of better in vow
mm.
one, which could be mixed with poorer from vow two.
That's true.
And the best part, if you mix and match the vows right, your union does not end till your death.
Amen.
But if you mix and match the vows wrong, death becomes your union.
Mm,
So whether or not you get the vows right, it still all ends in death.
mm,
So the question is, how much love are you putting inside? Because the day will come when you won't be able to put in any more love anymore. And how
mm,
much love are you leaving behind when you're gone?
mm. Did you share this publicly?
This is the first time.
Oh, I love it. And it's really, really deep. Those are layers that I don't think a lot of people talk about. I
Hmm.
don't think a lot of people talk about it. And yeah, no.
That's why the only married people that like that talk even at weddings, chairman, are people who are like in their 50s and their 60s, because they're comfortable
Mm-hmm.
talking about experiences that happened 20 years ago. Trust me,
Mm,
you get married, you have to give your partner 5 years to decide the type of partner they want to be. They
hmm,
can never have that journey before your marriage. So I'm
right.
wife material, I'm husband material. You are nothing. Hmm. Who told you that? That your wife material? Who
Mm.
told you that? How many years have you worked as a wife that you say, yeah, you claim to have the
I
material, that
actually 100% agree with that.
you are
100%
nothing.
agree with that.
You are not there.
Mm,
You have no clue. You don't even have the thread or the thread to make the material. You're talking of you are not.
right.
You have to
Hmm.
give. Now 5 years to decide
And that's even with the fact that you had lived together, right?
we are lived together. We've been friends since literally university, or all throughout university, like my ending years of university, because I had like 2 extra years in university and everything. But at the start of both our careers, we've been friends. Like we know each other through and through. We live together. But when you say those vows at the altar in front of God and you go back home,
Hmm.
it is different. It's hard work. It's
Hmm.
tests that you have to pass. Hold
Hmm.
hands. The tests are not to put the two of you against each other. The tests are supposed for you to
Right.
hold hands and face the test together. A test comes and you blame your partner for that test coming. How dare you?
Hmm.
You are one with that person. So whatever that person does and the thing comes, you hold that person's
Yeah.
hand and you solve it together.
Hmm.
So when your partner spent the first 5 years deciding the character they want to be, going to blah 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 blah, you accepting all their mess ups and praising all their good deeds, while you are going on that same old journey trying to decide what type
Right.
of wife you want to be, also, you come back to the drawing board and you analyze, tolerate, not
Hmm.
tolerate, check box and not check box. I will take this, I
Hmm.
won't take this. You communicate. You don't
Hmm.
point. You communicate it, and then when you go back again and leave out these characteristics, holding each other accountable.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, in all that canoodling, you will have Pekin. They will change you from Ayomide that you now became the missus, you now became somebody's
Hmm.
mom. It's a
Hmm.
whole new identity again. And the
Hmm.
only person that can teach you to have that identity is that infant crying in your ear that cannot even say, eh? That's who's
Hmm.
going to teach you to be a parent. Nobody
Hmm.
else. No book you're going
Hmm.
to read. No YouTube you're going to watch. You can watch all the new mothers being excited saying, so this is what I did and blah 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 blah. Excuse me. All that is just interesting content.
Hmm.
Because when you're in
Hmm.
your home and that baby is crying, you're not going to watch a video. You're
Right.
going to speak to that child, and that child is going to speak to you
Right.
back.
Right.
So the only person that can
Okay.
teach you how to be a wife is the man you marry.
Hmm.
The only person that can teach you how to be a husband is the woman you marry. But how many men will take instructions from their wife?
That's a question for you. That's a question for you because I don't get
Because
it.
no, because another thing, society
Hmm.
raises the girl child to be a wife,
Hmm.
but they raise the boy child to be a
So
man.
being a boy. No, boy. Let's keep it
Yeah.
real.
No, true. You see, there's two different things. They raise the boy child to be a man. That they
Hmm.
become men is a separate
Conversation.
discussion entirely because everybody doesn't want to raise a foolish man.
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, it's generational misguidance on raising these two genders.
Right. Right.
Is that's what it is. So there's a whole lot of things about marriage that I would say I thought I was ready for, even though I knew that they were going to come this test. But you can't be ready for problems designed for a committed couple. No matter how much you love someone, no matter how much you want to be there for someone, no matter how much you want to hold their hand, if they're not willing to take these tests with you, you're not going to pass, no matter how much you know the answers. You're not going to pass. So the other day I put on my Snapchat. Oh, LOL, not Snapchat reminding me about my wedding anniversary because I had totally forgotten, which I was proud of because it means I'm healing,
Right.
which is dreadful also because no, but it is what it is. So I put up, oh my god, Snapchat reminding my wedding anniversary. Oh my god, sigh, to hell with this shit type of thing. And somebody had texted me saying, well, you guys seem cute together now. What really happened? My reply was, well, we didn't seem cute. We were cute.
Hmm.
Don't get it wrong. But marriage complicated and almost ruined our friendship. So we tossed it.
Hmm.
Because I would say marriage did ruin our friendship.
Hmm.
Because if you're not willing to let die certain characters of self, dynamics, relationship, and because marriage is going to come in like a bulldozer, and it's going to come in and it's going to disrupt your entire life. It's going to disrupt your standing with your friends. It's going to disrupt everything. Like,
Hmm.
first of all, people are going to treat you differently, and it's going to be just weird. And then people are going to act like they're entitled to you because of your new position, and people are going to like trying to force you into certain places because they think you're excited to be there,
Hmm.
forgetting that it's a whole new confused state. it comes in like a whirlwind, and if you're not mentally ready for that, it will destroy stuff.
I mean, maybe because I'm single, I'm really appreciative of this because I feel like I struggle with the fact that people don't talk openly, but most especially guys. You are the second guy that I've spoken to recently who is or has gone through a divorce, and it's the partner maybe taking that step back, and they've said that thing of, it's I can't I can't force, this person to go on that journey with me. And I
Hmm.
think that's the scariest part for me. That I make this decision today, and I think, even scarier is what you just said. It's like you feel like you went in with God. Because I tell God, I'm like, if you're not going with me, I'm not doing it. It's okay. I don't need it. It's not that serious. I have many, many nieces and nephews. This is not the only purpose of marriage. I can live a very good life. I'm very good with my friends, my family. But if you're not going with me, I don't want. It's a lot. And it's a lot to now and then. And from, so I think you guys got married in 2019. Is that what it was?
Hmm. Hmm.
And by 2021, like, it's like I don't understand. Like, I don't like rejection, so I think I'm particularly going to feel like I failed. And like
Yeah.
you said something. You said, I wanted to be that guy. I want my marriage to be that thing for God. I always add for God because I'm like, God, please don't let it be like it's just in my head. Like, I just want it for myself. It's
Yeah.
like we need to show a new generation of people marriages that work, marriages that are good, that are great, that are built on God, that yes, they went through the test, but like they survived. And in this generation, because you see, there's this thing I follow, meet cutes. Half of the people they meet there, maybe they're 60s, 40, 80s, they've been married for 40 years, 50 years, and half of the time they were like, oh, they just, they were, what's the word? What's that thing? When they arrange marriages, like it's arranged
Hmm.
marriages, or, they just knew each other in high school, but they stuck with it. And it's like, I'm 30, I'm about to be 37. Now my eyes are open, my eyes are clear. We don't do things like that anymore. I feel like I need to be very, very informed. Anyways, I say all of this to say that, I think it's very helpful that you're being open about this, but how do you deal with, and you talked a lot about therapy and healing, but how did you deal with not feeling like you failed? Because again, this was a very short frame, right? A very short time frame,
Hey,
wanting to be
es-
that guy.
excuse me. Huh. I failed woefully.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, it took me a while to not say that, okay, look, that's I failed, and maybe this was all part of design. Maybe because she says one thing that she feels like we rushed into it, that if you had just given it a little bit more time,
Hmm.
we would have. And my argument was like, yeah, we rushed into it, but we're here now, so let's just. So
Yeah.
she wasn't ready, and for me, it's look, I'm going to support you with everything in this life because that's why I married you, to support you with everything you want to do. And if you say you can't do this anymore, I have to support you on that. So I failed. I felt like I failed. I did not feel like I did not fail, but what it is, I committed myself to God, and God doesn't fail. So the more I
Hmm.
felt like I was walking with Him and He was on this journey with me, the more I
Hmm.
felt like, because I'm not going to lie to you, I had literal encounters with God to
Hmm.
things that have come to pass. So when you've had those kind of experiences and you feel the goosebumps when you're splashing. You feel the goosebumps when you're in the spirit. You know that your hair is
Right.
standing. You know what I'm talking about. So you know that the spirit's there, it's touching your
Right.
heart, it's igniting
Right.
things.
Right.
So when you feel this, you know
Hmm.
that, nah, I didn't feel. So it's therapy. Therapy is one way. Drowning yourself or surrounding yourself with a lot of friends who just, appraise you all the time and are there for you and are ready to drag you out and blah blah is another way.
Right.
But those are pills. These are tablets. That's
Hmm.
just medicine. No,
Right.
God is the healer.
Amen.
Yeah. So working with God and focusing on the instructions He gave me and succeeding in those
Hmm.
eliminates whatever failure you feel like you are. Because again, like I said in the beginning, I was more obsessed with being a husband and being married and being devoted to my wife than I was to the will of God and
Hmm.
God's will for my life. And this is something
Hmm.
that the church would never tell you because everybody's like, "Oh, marry, 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 marry." I ask a lot of women, "Why do you want to get married?" Because there's nowhere in God's word and instruction to women. that he told you to go and marry. So why is it being forced in every woman's head?
Mm.
There's no way. God never instructed it. He picked up the dirty, dead sand and made man and
Mm.
removed rib from man to make woman. But when women call men scum, men will be arguing. Hello.
Okay.
He who finds a wife obtains
Favor.
finds a good thing
Lord.
and obtains favor from God.
Man.
Women are the gems. So
Mm.
I
Okay.
don't know. Am I
You don't want to
saying
preach?
I don't want to enter inside here, but these are the facts. These are the facts.
Mm. Amen to that. Amen. Okay. Okay. All right. You kind of got into everything that I almost want, like almost everything that I wanted to ask. But okay, let me go back. One of
I
the things
tend
I
to
do admire. No, you did. You've done great. It's been amazing. I think one of the things I want to say is I do admire that you were open about this, and you've always been open about your relationships. Like I said, I've been following you for a while, so I've kind of seen you go through that journey. Why do you think it's important, though? I feel like as a female, it's a lot accepted. As a man, it's like so rare. Why do you think that's important, though, that you do that?
So I can say categorically, there's a kind of man I want to be,
Mm,
or the kind of man I want to be, and I can't tell you how many times I've witnessed my dad, first of all, go berserk when somebody disrespects my mom, like in a
mm,
public space or anything. Yeah, I can tell you real life stories of my parents picking up guns to protect us on Lagos Ibadan Expressway when the car breaks down, like
mm.
that kind of thing. Like my parents are literally Agent Tank and GI Jane, that type of thing. They're like, and they are both doctors. So
Right.
and like we eat at table for dinner, like together as a family, like growing up, and then Sunday brunch with grandparents, and whenever cousins are around, we just sit on the ground at the table, and then we all engage with cooking. So I'm a very family oriented person, and I'm naturally a storyteller. And I do not tell other people's stories. I tell my stories
Mm,
and stories that I lived through. Like I'm doing a documentary on my brother's Olympic career, and it's a story that's being told from the perspective of me, my sisters, his siblings, and my parents, and his teammates, and his teammates' siblings, and their families, and the entire Special Olympics Nigeria, on board. So, and also one of the reasons why I'm a photographer. So, and then another key thing is, for as long as I can remember, my dad always signed off cards and presents and little things he gave to my mom, Gigi, which meant Golden Girl. So my dad always bought my mom a car first before he bought himself a car. You know, he was very he never hid romance. And again, there was a time where the social media was city people and all those type of things. And there was a time where my mom was facing city people like, you'd not be jogging outside Dolphin City in Ikoyi, and then I'd be like, oh, wife of Lagos big boy jogging down there on the streets of Body Lawn. So I remember when my mom came home one day, and she was running like, so it was like more of shock that her picture of the city people, and she's like, it wasn't city people, was it city people or was it Ovation? I think it was Ovation. It was one of those society magazines, and they were like, the Doctor wife of Lagos big boy Ale Roberts jogging on, they're taking a morning jog on body load, and she was like, who are these people? Where did they get my people from? And my person was like laughing, like, sorry, that's my fault.
right.
So, that's um, so I am very open about being in a relationship and being in love and being with someone. I mean, this is the longest I've been single, and it's kind of weird.
Wait,
So
what? Take that back. Sorry. So this is what 2021 to 2023, and this is the longest you've been single. Okay, you know what? I need to do something else with my life because clearly.
and it's not fun. I don't know how. Yeah, it's not fun. Let me tell you something real life.
Okay.
One of my best friends, she
Mm-hmm.
asked me a question one time, like, well, how am I doing? And there are people that ask me that question, that how am I doing? And I can't just tell them fine.
Answer. Right.
I cannot.
Right.
They know. I know exactly what they're asking about.
Right.
That's why I'm okay. Where's your heart? Where's your mind? Blah blah blah. I have
Mm.
friends that they merely snap out, get the snap out of you, that kind of thing. So she asked me that one day,
Mm-hmm.
like, how are you doing? And this was earlier this year. Now I've reached the point where I've realized, because it unravels. You don't know what you miss, and you don't know what you've lost.
Mm.
As you're healing, let's put this on the same level as what's going through a divorce, and it's on the same maybe threshold as getting a
Right.
knife slash
Right.
over here. There are a lot of flesh, so there are no veins or anything. So you're not going to, if you can close up the wound fast enough, you lose more blood, you will not die. Exactly.
Right.
You
You
lose more
won't
blood,
bleed
you
to
will not
death.
die.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So she asked me, how you doing? And I was like, I miss being accountable to someone.
Mm.
Now, this may come off strange to some people because if you work for an organization or you have a boss in your company, you're accountable to someone. But when you're literally running two startups that are literally 2 years old,
Mm.
with a lot of things to do, and you're handling investors' revenues and projects that are now worth 500 million
Mm.
with and that's naira, I beg you.
I was about to say that, Demilade. I'm just saying that maybe I need to put my own application too, because even when I just saying all these things, I'm pretty sure that all
That's
the people on my podcast are like, can they put in the application? Because
that's please, that's naira. I know we're aiming for dollars. We're, we're aiming for dollars within our first 5 years, but I beg you.
I'm like,
Eh,
just keep letting people be like,
well,
where can they send the application to? Don't worry, I have
I'm
Demlade's
sending
phone number.
I'm sending invoice in naira. Oh, I beg you.
I have Demlade's number. You have to go through me. I just want you to know. Okay, go ahead.
So so we thank God for following instructions because it's been awesome. So she asked me that, how am I doing? And I'm like, I miss being accountable to someone because in the time to when we moved in together as boyfriend and girlfriend and living together for all those years and then getting married, there was one question, or two questions I would get asked every morning and every evening. What are you doing today? How was your
Mm.
day?
Mm.
Now, when you're with someone, I'm talking to someone that there's a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of trust, a lot
Mm.
of blah, blah, blah. You have all of that. And that person is asking you, what are you doing today?
Mm.
And how was your day? It's not cuteness. Oh.
Mm.
It's not out of concern or care. I mean, it's come with soft voice, blah, blah, blah. But, excuse me, oh, Mr. Oga, Mr. Madam, you must always have a plan for your day.
Mm.
And you must always give a report
Of your
on your
day.
execution of your day. It's
Mm.
like business. It is your KPI for the day.
Mm.
Your guy at home will ask you,
Mm.
so how was your day? I did that. How was your day? If you like, don't have a report. So
Mm.
when you have that, I mean, at first it was weird when you're like, oh, so what are you doing today? And when I'm like, oh, appreciate that. They go hustle now, they go work, and they go studio, and they just kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing like that. They go studio now, they have photo shoot now, and everything. It's and in my mind I'm like, but I mean, we had a conversation yesterday. Now I have a booking for a shoot today. No, I'm doing a shoot today. So why are you asking me what am I
Mm.
doing today? I'm asking you because I am your human checklist,
Mm.
and then when you come back home, you have to come and tick the boxes on me before I
Right.
can be okay. If you
Mm.
say okay, you've done 70%, you've done 60%, you did 40%, you try, you did 30%. Guy, you're not serious.
Mm.
That kind of thing. Losing that accountability partner. I mean, I have business partners that I'm accountable to.
Mm.
But if they scold me, I'll scold them back. If they point fingers, I'll point fingers back. I say, oh yeah,
Right.
that kind of thing. But even though
Right.
that
Right.
you have to stay diligent because it's also your investment, it's also your money, and then if
Right.
if
Right.
it doesn't go well, or mark for everybody, only you and your partners, they're all
Mm.
going to answer question. It's the investor's money. So
Yeah.
so you just have to stay diligent with work.
Mm.
But days where you can delegate and days where you're like, you know what, kind of down today, and then
Mm.
you allow yourself be down. That cannot happen when you have a partner that you
Partner.
respect
Mm.
who is going to ask you for a report. I
Mm.
mean, she will care that you are down. You are down. What happened? I feel it. But if you cannot give a definite reason as to waiting cause that downness, so that's why you did not do strike one. They care was they have strike it. They are noting your complacency, your lackadaisicality, your nonchalance. They say love does not keep all these things, but we're all human beings.
Right. Right.
But you have done all that one, and one day you just wanted to get the work done by come home with flowers, buy cake, and then let's go and have dinner, cancel everything else. Always have a plan. But that
Right.
daily accountability was very important to me. And I didn't know how important it was until
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a Instagram thing, and the guy was talking about how he thought that we should take the successes of businesses into relationships, and part of that is what you're talking about, right? Where you're getting constant feedback, right? You're getting criticism, but hopefully constructive criticism, right? You're meeting each other every week to go through the budget, to go through, how did I make you feel this week? Or, is there something I could have improved on, and things like that. And I think that, I thought sometimes I think that's very cold because that's the kind of person I can be. But I think now, again, just talking to you, I can see how important that could be and how one could miss that. So I guess, okay, so psychology, which by the way, that's my degree. So amen to that. I love that.
Amen to you.
I guess the question now is that moving forward, what are you looking for? What could oh let me ask this. One, could this ever be again with your ex? Is there, what's the word? Is there a pathway for that to be, right? And then if that's not the case, if someone is coming in, how, because I can tell that you're still in love. It's gonna take time, no matter how much you want to be in love again. I saw your one post talking about you want to be in love again. How does that person feel safe that this is going to be different? This is going to be new. And I feel like I've asked three questions in one, but also what are you looking for again, I guess?
Knowing what this relationship called marriage entails, I would say priority for me is I want to fall in love with my partner's relationship with God. I feel like that's something I didn't take into consideration,
Okay.
or not in hindsight. I'm not going to like be looking to hindsight, but that is something that I am yearning to look forward to because I can't be speaking and be communing with my Creator in the Spirit. Because here's why: marriage is not just a relationship between two people. People say no, it's a relationship between two families. No, never. It's not. Mm-mm. Abolish that. The first member of your family, the moment you say "I do,"
Cool.
is the person in front of you. The person in front of you. That's the first member of
Ah,
your family, your
okay.
wife or your husband.
Okay.
Now, but you've made the covenant decision in front of God.
Hmm.
That's the third partner
Right.
because marriage is a love triangle between
Right.
you, your partner, and God. Now, in that love triangle, there are three relationships.
Right.
Hmm? You and your partner? No more than three. You and your partner, one relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You and God, one
Mm-hmm.
relationship. That's two. Your partner and God, that's three.
Mm-hmm.
You and your partner and God,
Thank God.
that's four.
Mm-hmm.
You having a relationship with your marriage, that's five. Your partner's relationship with marriage,
Mm-hmm.
that's six. There's six relationships in a marriage covenant. And that is also not taught enough because you can focus on your marriage and lose out completely on the individual you married. Focusing on, I'm working hard, I'm paying all these bills, blah blah. Okay, you are doing everything you need to keep your home intact. You're meeting the demands. Okay, when last have you gone to see the movie with your partner, or have you gone to have dinner, or have you? When last have you even said, okay, this weekend, yeah, I'm taking you somewhere. But I was going. When last have you guys taken time out to remember the individuals and to
Mm-hmm.
understand that individual's growth
Mm-hmm.
minus you doing tasks together and everything? So
Right.
there's a whole lot of things that need to be considered and going into marriage. The Bible says, "Wives, submit to your husbands," and then immediately after it says, "Love the husbands,
Okay. Right.
loves your wife, love your wife." Now, a lot of men don't realize that for a woman to submit to you, you have to be worthy of that submission. Now, the only way you can be worthy of a woman's submission is by you submitting to a
God.
superior being, which is to God. Now, a man who submits to God is a man that has sense. Not a man that knows the Bible, not a
Right.
man that goes to church, not a
Right.
man that even preaches.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Bible is the source of so
Preach.
much wisdom.
Yep.
Trust me, if you study the book of Proverbs for 1 month, I promise you, you can go into any room and speak, and people say, Ronnie, this one knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
relationship with God is something that you do not see publicly,
So,
and the person's character. If a man submits to God, a woman falls in love with that character. And then
right.
it is very easy for her to submit to you. Whatever you need, yes, sir, no, sir, three bars, no, sir, because you are worthy of it.
Mm.
Now, that's what I'm looking for. Somebody who understands those principles. So
Right.
love is a decision. It's not a matter of emotions or feelings. It's a matter of waking up every day and deciding I want to still wake up in this bed tomorrow. Or I want to come out of this bed tonight.
Right.
It really boils down to that one simple decision, regardless of what you're not getting,
Right.
regardless of the attention you're not having,
Right.
regardless of the disrespect, even
Right.
regardless of the lack of care.
Right.
The moment you say I do and you say that you love this person and it's to death, you decide to wake up in that bed knowing that you're going to come back to that bed. Unless it's holiday,
Right.
it's travel, or it's retreat,
Hmm.
or it's but on that bed beside that person is your waking and resting points every single day to the day that you die. So
Okay.
coming down to that last decision, everything else is a test
Yeah.
for your enjoyment, for your growth, for your knowledge building, for your capacity building, for your network, for your relationship, whatever it is.
Right. Okay. And then the other two questions. So, pathway, is there a pathway to getting back with your ex? And then how does this new person, if there's not a pathway, feel like you can fall in love with them just as much as you fall in or as you fell in love with your ex, for example?
So before I got into a relationship with my ex, I told myself, whoever I was going to love, I'm going to love with my whole heart. And it's
Mm-hmm.
literally a decision.
Right.
It's literally a decision. It's like I know it now.
Mm.
It's literally yes, I will. Yes, I will like you. I have advice in my like in my belly, but you go belly full. The butterfly, you will not feel it every day.
Demilade.
Yes, you know, understand. Today your heart is warm. Tomorrow they are vexed. One day
Mhm.
I've lost one project. You are depressed about something else, and your heart is not warm. But in all of that, you will still cuddle with this person.
Right.
You decide to because it's a decision that you are comfortable making, you are safe making, and you want to hold on to because it's what you want to do.
Right.
Not necessarily for the person, but with your soul and because it pleases God.
Mm.
So for me, a pathway to my ex, we tried, but it got to a point where like the last conversation we had about this, I had literally left Lagos, went to go sit in England, and this was when I had a conversation with my dad and my parents, and my dad literally went through the exact same thing before marrying my mom and then having us. Literally, it's the exact same thing. Got married, no one do, try. She left. And when I spoke to him about it, he's like, look, Demilade, I've been through this. It's not a big deal. It happens. Just hurry up and move on. That's literally the advice my father. No sentiment, no nothing, blah, blah, blah. Just say, look, just take your time, but hurry up and move on. Like, don't waste time. Just hurry up and move on.
Right.
And it's literally a decision. Moving on is literally a decision. It's not about emotions. It's not about feelings. Feelings are valid. There will always be love, but acting on it, deepening inside it, is a journey for and with another person at this point.
I love that. Okay, because we talked enough about relationships, and I really do still want to get into Black Canvas. I'm going to
Okay.
end that there. But honestly, thank you, first of all. But two, I should say that he's mentioned it already, but Demilade is also brother to, as he calls it, a differently able champion who is an Olympic gold medalist 5 years running or 5 times Olympic gold medalist, Demilade Roberts. And that's, I think, one of the best parts of your story. I know it's not just your story, it's a family story, but I really, really do love that. I've seen you champion some of those. I think the last time I had randomly, responded to something you had said, you were trying to do a fundraiser for,
Mhm.
something around that. I just always love that part of your journey. And I've seen what you're doing with the Black Canvas now, which seems like a documentary of some sort. Well, actually, that's what you said. Sorry. You did say a documentary
Mhm.
of that. And I think I just want you to talk a little bit, if you can't even talk about the documentary, just what you do with Black Canvas. One of the projects I really loved was the Hang Lagos, where you seem to be using drones to like take pictures of Nigeria.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need one
Mhm.
of those artworks, by the way. So talk a lot about that, or talk a little about that, I should say, through the different projects.
So I'll just jump right into Black Canvas, and I can't speak about Black Canvas without speaking about the rafters. And so I'll just jump right into it. After 10 years of doing photography and doing service work, photographing weddings, events for corporate organizations, this and that. Not to brag, but In my photography CV, I did Bronner's first magazine cover in Nigeria when he moved back. I did
Mm.
Davido's first photo shoot on the album cover.
Right.
Not the first album cover, his first single cover. Same with Whiskey's first photo shoot and single cover for Dondo. And yeah. And right now, I can't do better than those three in the
Mm.
entertainment industry. And I've photographed a lot of them, like
Mm.
from Olamide's first photo shoot, Tiwa, Mohits, Maven, Lee Temple, a lot of them. All the artists. I've photographed everything from
But
stage,
wait, can I
behind the
pause
scenes.
real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
How did you get there from psychology degree?
I started taking pictures in Unilag, and I was a club boy in
Ah,
Unilag. So, yeah, I started
that's
carrying
what it
cameras in
was.
Unilag around campus. I was taking pictures around campus in all
Mm.
the Unilag parties. From there, I was called by Bayo Mishore, former editor in chief of Sound City Plus. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2023. This is like 15 years later, but he first
Mm.
called me, and the first entertainment industry gig I
Mm.
worked at was Shank's album launch.
Mm.
For
Okay.
his album, for his album.
Julie, I
Yeah,
will never forget. Where is he? Okay, we'll talk about that later.
he's in America, but yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so that's my journey, and I've done photographed Mike Adenuga, Tony Lumelu, Jimovia. I photographed Itu Embassy, Okunoren Twins, Diola Sego Clan, Banke Kuku, Zephon and Co. Style. I photographed all the top fashion designers, done billboards for UBA, I've done work for GT Banks, so all the top banks. I photographed in the government sector up to the Senate presidential level, and I've done
Mm.
for governors. I've done for all the past three Ondo State governors. That's my state. So I worked for Agagu.
Actually,
Mimiko.
that we're from the same
Yeah,
state.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I did work for Agagu, Mimiko, and Akeredolu.
Hmm.
So that's my CV. And
Hmm.
I was thinking one day that look, I need to start creating my own platform because to break it down for you, and if there are any content creators listening to this, so yeah, creatives out there, it got to a point where I started asking the question, what is the one thing that human beings consume the most? Because social media made me understand some things in terms of business dynamics. So the time where it take me months to get wedding pictures to the client because it takes me that long to creatively design the book and all of that. But now they want the pictures immediately. So content is one thing that human beings consume the most, more than oxygen. Because the moment you open your eyes, not just media content, but content in itself. The moment you're conscious, you're consuming content. So now, if you're not in the industry where you are creating the content, where you own the platform that distributes the content, where you own the channel that shares the content, where you're the content is in terms of actor and musicians, where you are the one funding the fuel in which the content is produced and which is Glow data, which is the Macedonia level. If you're not on any of these aspects of the industry, you will be left behind and people are doesn't become billionaires right in front of your eyes. So just plug in yourself somewhere. You're not going to become well, my level is billionaire level. So I'm getting to the point where I want to own at least two or three of these platforms so that
Mm.
I can make money in my sleep as opposed to providing a service for people, which is what I did for 10, 11 years. And they say you're an expert at something for 10 years. If you do something for 10 years consistently, you're an expert.
Right.
So it got to a point where I wanted to stop providing a service and start building my own platforms that generate revenue. Platforms that will be sustainable and top corporate brands will want to be affiliated with. So hence Black Canvas. Now, Black Canvas is literally Africa and the platform to which we express ourselves, the canvas.
I was going to actually say that. I was like, if I was gonna guess, I was gonna say black is Africa and canvas is just what God has given us, like this black, this blank canvas really to do our
Yeah.
days and everything. So I feel
So
like I'm
so yeah,
intuitively
it's
there.
it's a wordplay for a blank canvas, but it's black
Yep, yep.
and it's a canvas to which, as Africans, we can now tell our story. So,
Awesome.
is the bedrock to telling African stories. And it started off with Hang Lagos because I wanted to export images of Lagos taken from an aerial view to people, and I've
Mm,
shipped prints, canvas and photo prints to as far as Australia. And
mm.
I even have prints hanging in this restaurant in Wembley in London.
Oh,
It's
nice.
my biggest size of print that I've ever done. And so, in fact, before I got into real estate and I built Black Canvas, I made the most money from prints. So
Mm,
let me just say that there. A lot of people think it's by being called for the big corporate events, but nah, I
mm,
hustled prints. I put prints.
mm,
There's this hospital in Ikeja called the Duchess International Hospital
right.
next to the Marriott. They
Mm-hmm.
opened in 2021.
Mm.
It's 6 floors. Is a very fantastic hospital, like state of the art. Like they have surgeons from all around the world that come and operate there when need be.
Never
So
even heard of it.
yeah, Miss Duchess is a subsidiary of Reddington, and
Okay.
they have 6 floors. And the CEO was an expert from England, the Nigerian guy, sha. But yeah, he commissioned me to curate art to put in the entire hospital. So I've got pieces of my work there, prints,
Mm.
and also I do a little bit like a little bit of art with prints. So
Okay.
I've got pieces there, and they're like about 150 pieces there. So Black Canvas does art curating,
150 pieces.
yeah, art, paints,
Wow.
and photography. So yeah,
That's
on all 6 floors.
awesome.
So go check it out. So eventually they will open the platform for people to just see the art on some certain floors and some certain times. But until
Mm.
then, let them get their house in order because they're about 2 years now. Anyway,
Mm.
so that's Black Canvas. Of course, we still do the event coverage, but that is not our top burner at the moment. The documentary for my brother's Olympic career, winning 5 gold medals and 1 bronze, which is 6 medals in total. So
Awesome.
his story starts in 2003 from Ireland through to Beijing, which he didn't go, but we raised money for that as siblings and people that we started the SOS, Social Olympic Support, and to all the other countries, Greece, Los Angeles, and we're shooting an entire documentary on that story, and it's an incredible story, and we can't wait for the world to see it because we're aiming for Netflix. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Black Canvas.
We're gonna say cans or something, but Netflix still is fine. Like,
No, I
so
mean
we over here can see it.
yeah. So I mean, we'll take it to the film festivals first to see what it's like. And I want the entire, because my own is that I want the story to be out there so that there are a lot more families, especially African families, can see the potential in their children who have social needs and mentally disabled, which we've recoined to differently abled, but some people in some countries don't like being called different. They want to be acknowledged as disabled. It's all just
Okay.
um, it's all just a preference and things. But that's our hope for the documentary, that people would see the potential in these children and not just hide them away or be embarrassed by them, or society should not even pick or mock on them because they are also human and they are special. They
Mm.
are put on this earth for something entirely different that none of us so-called normal people can ever achieve. So that's what the story is done about. We've gone into Black Canvas, we've gone into film, building a whole team of artists, art curators, videographers, animators, photographers, project managers, production managers, writers, gaffers, sound people, sound engineers. We recently acquired a studio last year in Sule with all the facility for all of this and the equipment also. It's been a journey, and when I was thinking of the platforms to build, as opposed to just doing service work for companies and events, I was thinking of the industry I hadn't done a lot of work in, and that's where Rafters came in, which is real estate. Because I started dabbling in drone technology in 2015, and then I had this dream of documenting the development of Lagos over the next 20 years. So that was how I got into real estate. Like that was just my own passion project. Like, what? I'm going to photograph Lagos consistently for the next 20 years because those images in 20 years are going to be worth a dime and
Right.
very precious and everything. And so I started. I have started. I've been doing it since 2015. And from there, I thought about offering a service to the real estate industry of, monitoring their projects and cataloging their assets. And so we got some companies to key into that. And my line of thought was, look, when eventually I want to start up these my different platforms on a black canvas for, shooting a movie or doing a documentary, I didn't want to be running to banks or to investors looking for money to borrow to shoot a movie or blah blah. I wanted to spend my
Right.
own money. I wanted to have my own millions and spend it on my own movies. And I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can close some real estate deals to make that money.
Mm.
Because real estate is the one most secure investment in the history of existence. Nobody can come and tell me anything. It's not Forex, it's not BTC,
Right.
it's not anything. Put your money inside concrete and iron inside land is never going to run away.
Mm.
So I started doing real estate content and I learned the hard way how developers spend their money. So I teamed up with people who are partners in my real estate company. And in the 3 years, we've grown from a content creating company for clients to a website that harbors its own content, produces its own content. and we've gone into real estate development of our own. Started
Mm.
building. So I'm a photographer, but I own cement machine, cement mixer. If your buyers are looking to invest in real estate in Nigeria, call me. So yeah, so I got into real estate to be able to generate enough revenue to fund my own personal, to fund Black Canvas projects in film, advertising, corporate campaigns, and all of that. And it's been a great 3 years from COVID because a lot of people jumped on the creative industry, jumped on it. People changed business models, changed entire careers during COVID. I just want to thank God for vision, direction, and of course obedience.
You know what? No, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so when is this documentary coming out?
I
Projected.
wrote it with my sister and Mofe Duncan in 2021.
Hmm.
We really just started shooting teaser this year.
Okay.
So the actual production is going to start, Lord willing, Q2 next year. And depending on how it is received by the platforms in which we're taking them to, I can't decide know when that will be. But so all I want to do is this story has to be told and it's being told. So that's what's important to me.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm just going to shameless plug. Mofe and I went to school together. Well, he was my senior. He was my.
Is
I
that home
actually
science?
think Mofe was my school father. I think I don't remember, but I think he was my school father.
Is that home science?
Home science, yes, yes. That's why I graduated. That was my first graduation. Long story, but yeah. Okay, all right. Well, this has been awesome because I could keep you here for another 30 minutes, but I'm going to try not to do. I think, this is a powerful story altogether. Altogether, I think just the journey of your career, but also the personal stuff. And really, I've noticed a trend now that God is doing. And I've been talking to a lot of people who like they're really highlighting their spiritual. I'm like, oh, I'm just opening a platform to hear people's story, and everybody is just talking about God lately. And I'm like, okay, God, I know. I mean, I always say that I'm not going to be a preacher or, that kind of ministry thing, but I
Yeah.
realize that God does ministry in many different ways. He's like, don't
Yeah,
worry.
and to coin on that journey because in all this journey I was able to put into an order my steps. And order in my
Hmm.
steps is like, look, my priorities are literally God, family, industry, ministry, and charity. And everything I'm
Right.
doing, everywhere I'm going, everything I'm about, if it doesn't align in any of these three priorities, I ain't
Hmm.
touching it. And ministry means, look, everybody who is a child of God should share,
Right.
and there's a lot of love you share. You should share whatever it is that you need to share. Share whether it's your story, whether it's your resources, whether it's your network, whether it's
Right.
share, and the world will be a better place for it. And that's just the meaning of like ministry. Ministry is literally sharing.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
yeah, it's literally just sharing. So just share, and then if you have excess, give it to charity.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So I feel like I'm dreading this question you're about to ask me, but since you said you have to change it, hopefully it's not that bad. So you get to ask me one question.
Okay, one question: where do you stand with infidelity?
Hmm. Okay. Was not expecting that. I guess so. Let me ask this: is infidelity in marriage or just in relationships in general?
Think about it in marriage, even though you've not been in it. But in relationship in general, I don't consider anything before marriage. I don't know, sacred. People do their things.
Yeah.
They're not. Yeah, marriage.
Yeah, I get that. Actually, it was funny because I was going to ask you about that because, technically as a Christian, are you supposed to have lived together? But I just figured, you know what, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But I have never cheated on anybody. I don't find the need for it. And I honestly don't think that anybody should do it within marriage because, like you said over and over again, this is a choice, this is a decision. You did not have to be married. You did not have to choose this person. You did not have to make that commitment. With that said, it's hard for me. I always had this thing where if he cheated, I was out because I know I won't cheat. I know that sounds kind of very like bold, but I just know my person, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. And I'm like you, I don't know if I'm good with prayer, but I'm definitely good with God. And there's some things that I feel like God has already said, and there's no point arguing with it, right? So I know I will not cheat.
Now, before now, and that's pretty much most of the reason why I've ever left someone is that they cheated and I found out. If I don't find out, that's all good. If I find out, I'm out. I don't feel like I need to negotiate.
So
But you are getting married. You're married. You can't just do that. God tells you to forgive 70 times 7 and all of this stuff. And it weighs on my mind a lot. I will not lie to you because I have a friend who tells me that I cannot marry a Nigerian guy because all Nigerian men cheat. Now he's married. So I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I mean, I haven't done it yet, and I pray that I don't. And he told me all the steps he's taking to ensure that he does not. But he's like, he's been tempted. He went to something, and the one girl like literally was like, anything, I'll do that kind of thing. And you're just like, damn, this is crazy.
so let me tell you real life. It's nice to have that stance. It's
What
also
stands?
stance that look, you don't think anybody should cheat, and
Right, right,
you
right,
know,
right, right,
and
right, right.
I'm not sure if you're still holding on to if somebody cheats your house, but that kind of thing. But
No, that's what I'm saying. That I think
yeah,
practically now it
but
means I can't do it.
yeah. So I mean, I pray you never have to face that decision. But
Amen.
but when you get there, have the Holy Spirit, and trust me,
Hmm.
you're also going to face it. You are
Wait,
also
what do you
going to,
mean?
the temptation. You're also going to face it.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah.
matter no matter how bad you think you are, nothing. Trust me. There's someone that's going to like the person you treat, the person your husband times 10 of him in everything.
We'll
You
just show
call
up.
God and the devil. You know the Job story is God and devil. God and the devil will place that person in front of you. And God will say, my daughter Yomide, I trust her. Forget. Nothing, she's strong. Devil will say, see you, this girl. And you go and gawk. And God will just say,
God have
honestly,
mercy.
she's human, don't worry, she's all right. And so the truth about it is, the truth about it is, I know we are not superior beings and we're not gods or anything, but you're going to walk away from someone who cheated on you. And what's the definition of cheating? Just literally just having fun without you.
Mm.
But
Is that really just the definition there?
it breaks, no, it's deep because it breaks trust,
Right,
breaks the
right,
emotion, it breaks a whole lot of things. it,
right,
it stirs up a whole lot of feelings. You start questioning yourself. You start, just like, so look, we were asked this question in marriage counseling, and a lot of men were talking about, they cheat the ass, and the man actually goes like, you uncle, what if you are caught cheating? What do you hope will happen? And the whole room was silent because
right,
they are divided us into males class and the female class. So I used to tell a lot of young guys back then when I was like, walking past, to becoming a husband and then being a husband. Because I took a lot of pride being a one woman guy.
right,
I took a lot of pride in it, and even the times I was tempted like I told my ex at the time, when I decided to be, in a relationship, when I went to Bible study and everything, blah blah, I had to come and God, look, I have just one issue, I have just one thing I
right,
want you to help me with on this journey.
right,
Woman, help me.
right.
I want to be that guy that can beat my chest and say yes. There
I
was one
never
time that I
cheated.
was, yeah, no, not just I never cheated. Like it's not about not cheating. It's
Not
about
even having the desire.
you're with me. It's not a thought.
Right,
It's not
right,
a consideration. That's where I
right,
wanted to
right,
be. It's like
right,
what?
right,
There's so many important things in this life not to be there.
right.
And like I tell a lot of guys, like I mean, women turn down. I mean, every day of your life, they are throwing where everywhere in your office, down the streets, in the gym, wherever you go,
Right,
there's
right,
just one man offering you pennies on a hot platter.
right.
They're just offering it to you. But as men, it's not really offered that much. So the ones that are offering it, ones that want to bill us on top of it. And
Right,
men always fall for it.
right,
I have money, I can afford it.
right.
You giving away your virtue and your cash. You have gained nothing, my brother. That's another story on the side.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So it's a thing of pride, knowing that you don't have the desire, knowing that it's not something
Right,
know that it's not something that you want, knowing that it's not even something that the devil can use to
right,
even derail you anymore. You're
right,
way past it. And I was tested, ladies coming into my studio, coming to my studio with no aim, when I know what their
hmm.
plan is. Even being invited to certain sex parties and going, but walking out fully clothed and say yes because you have to. I had these stories and as I say, communication is very very key because if you
The
cannot,
sex parties in Lagos. Okay, see, I'm a good girl. I'm just putting it out there. Okay.
Girl, come on. Yeah. You don't even know what's happening in these Lagos, first of all. Another gist. So these temptations will come. They will come. Like
Right.
you
Mm.
literally find yourself. I mean, I was in the entertainment industry. I'll find myself in a room with models and there's just breast walking, right?
Right. Right.
Maybe just minding my business, that kind of thing. So these things are
Right.
there. And love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, self control. You see that self
Mm.
control? It is so sexy. It is, hey, it is so sexy. And that is the one thing women have that men are
That men don't.
thirsty
Yeah.
for.
Yep. Yep.
That power to say no and
Yeah.
hold on to it. Hey, you see men, I'll give you the whole world. Eh?
Mm. Mm.
But a man to say no
Mm.
is very, very tough. And that's because they don't have it. They think the power is in getting it.
Right.
Getting it, that's where your power is, getting laid.
Right.
When you are releasing energy. How is that getting
Right.
power? Where I don't anyway.
Well, I need to know, where do you do this counseling that you talked about a lot? Because I think people need to know that. I don't think it's like if you're not in church. I always want to recommend it to people who are not even Christians. Like, you still need this counseling. Go.
Yeah,
So where have you
yeah,
been getting this?
yeah. I actually have started penning it down. I mean, I talk to people one on one, like
Right.
when it comes to my house or we're on a project together, blah blah. And they're like,
Right.
you should write a book. I say, like, I'm not writing
You
no
should.
goddamn book. But what I feel like, what I am actually working on is, I don't know if it's going to be a podcast, and I don't like doing cliche things. You know, me, I like doing things that are either pioneering or just weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to be but I'm building a platform. I'm speaking to God about it every day. I'm like, look, God, and He has given me this instruction since.
Right.
I have a prayer group, men that pray, and I've invited a few guys who are started at 4, we're now like 16. So
Mm.
every morning I'm just sending them prayer links and I try to get them out every week. So there are these platforms that I'm actually putting together basically to give more men insight as to how we should be thinking, how
Right.
we should be seeing things and how we should be behaving and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a power in saying no. And a lot
Right.
of women who don't, so you see a lot of women that they are choosing husband and you're wondering why they are not left.
Mm.
Do you know how many husbands do not even have the authority to fuck their wives anymore in their home based on their
Mm.
own actions by
Action.
hand and by
Right.
penis?
Right.
They
Right.
messed up royally
Mm.
that the woman has said, you know what? You see this marriage? I'm not going anywhere.
Mm.
But you don't have a wife anymore. And it kills them. They are dying inside, so they are looking. You see a married man telling a small girl saying, let's be exclusive. And the girl is wondering, what's going on? Exclusive. You have your whole wife at home, but we should be exclusive. Sister, he's
Mm.
married. He does not have a wife. He's two
Right.
right now, because of his own actions, they are
Right.
two exclusively different things.
Mm.
And women know this. So
Yeah.
you find out, why are all these women stay married to these useless men?
Mm.
They own the house, they own the man's
Mm.
life. So
Mm.
they say, if that's what you want to do, no problem. Be outside. They don't even sleep on the same bed in the same. You see the man who go home in this
Yeah.
mansion is one couch or the guest room that
Yeah.
he's been in for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when some people say to dead do us parts, and for better for worse, you see that worse, it involves all these things that you say is a red flag, is a deal
Mm-hmm.
breaker. There's no such thing as deal breaker. Just say you don't want to do, but say because
Mm.
of this,
Mm.
that no, no.
I think, like you said, I'm
I mean, unless
hus-
it's a threat to your life, where yeah, where they want to break your eye, then even the Bible permits you get out of that place.
right.
It's
Right.
even you get unless it's a threat to your life, but any other reason, if
So I
God can
remember
forgive, you too you can forgive.
I remember asking someone about this because, it's like, at this point, like, where are you going to? It's been that long. And, they had said something towards the effect of, but don't I deserve to be happy? So I guess that's the question. After, see, I get it. I do. I'm not married, so intellectually I get it. And, psychology degree, I get it. But I also understand that people are unhappy and living in these homes, and you can see it's breaking their hearts, and they're like you said, Vic, they're not living to the full potential and purpose of their this thing. Now, to be fair, some of this, like you said, is their actions, like it's that person's action. So it's not like there's anybody to blame or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's hard for me to think that I'm
Let me
wanting
show
to
you one
enter
dynamic.
something and
Yeah,
Okay.
let me add one dynamic to this particular scenario that could happen. Yeah,
Right.
people are not happy. Now, I would never in my life put the burden on my wife
To make me happy.
to make me happy. That's God's job.
Right.
That's the
Well.
work of the Holy Spirit. Now, this is something that somebody who works in the spirit understands. Somebody
Mm,
who doesn't work in that spirit is going to question you and blame you for their unhappiness. Now,
right.
again, they are unhappy. You have the right to be happy, but happiness
Right.
is your responsibility. Excuse
Right.
me, madam. You are a grown person. Another
Mm.
thing is, a lot of people, and I'll also say women, want something. And
Mm.
I tell you that it's okay to want everything in this life. It's very okay. In
Mm.
fact, they have to start educating men. If your wife should say, I want a new car, the first question she says, which car do you want and where can we get it? Answer that first. Once you answer
Mm-hmm.
those two questions, now attempt to go and purchase the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's okay to want everything, but when you say, oh yeah, go and get it now, say, I don't have the money for it. So why do you want it and not want the money?
Mm.
That's what I'm asking for now. So you're asking for the money to go and buy this thing.
Right.
Okay, where is that money going to come from?
Mm.
That you don't know. Can we solve that?
Mm.
How are we going to solve that? By setting position the structure. So why don't
Mm.
you want the structure? Why don't you
Mm.
want to afford what you want instead
Mm.
of wanting it directly?
Mm.
It's okay to want, but there also comes wanting the process of getting it.
Mm.
And this day, because of how much we consume and how quickly we consume, a lot of people are misguided into thinking things happen that fast. And a lot of people
Right.
think their source of happiness is going to be in their marriage. No,
Mm.
your marriage doesn't give you happiness. You pump the happiness into your marriage.
Mm. Okay.
The source of your happy marriage is from you,
Right.
not your marriage being the source of your happiness.
Okay.
Don't
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, like I said, intellectually, I get that. I get it. I think, and I think it's all the things you said. It takes two, right? The person also has to bring happiness. But again, something we probably didn't talk a lot about is just forgiveness, like how much that is an important thing. And it was something that I guess, I mean, I understood it and I've seen the Bible and I always think, oh, yeah, a forgiving person. But I used to be like, no, infidelity is not, it's just something you should not forgive because, like, again, it's a choice. But, I'm getting older. So I think that I'm realizing, and as I've just paid attention to other
God has
people's,
forgiven that person that's committed the infidelity. If you don't forgive the
right.
person, God will just say no problem. They'll remove the person from your career better with. Shebi,
Mm,
when the woman committed adultery and they wanted to stone her to death,
right.
God said, he who without sin should cast the first stone. And when nobody had
Right.
the audacity, he said, my sister, you have your life.
Going. Mm,
Go on with your life.
mm, mm.
But sin no more. If she sins again, what will happen? God will still deliver her and say,
right.
go on with your life. But
Right.
as you do it again, because it's merciful. But
Mm.
you, mortal human, you think how you feel is very important. Work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but I won't even lie. I'm like, God, please. Like, there's some things that,
That's
like
why
you
we
said,
have
they're
to
tests.
pray. That's why in everything in this life, you
Yeah.
must pray. Because the test, that thing that you don't want,
Yeah.
God will say, I'm going to
Yep.
give
Like
you.
Job said, right? Like, I always remember that about Job, how he used to pray for his children because, he didn't want them to sin or he didn't want anything to happen to them. And yeah. Yeah, no. Okay. All right. Well,
When Job now ask God, why all this? God still dead him. What audacity do you have to question why all this happened to you? Are you crazy? Come, let me show you
yeah.
what I'm working on.
Mm. Marriage is tough. I don't think people talk a lot about it. Like I haven't even been married, and I just thinking about it and hearing you talk about it, and again, sometimes it's easier when it feels like the person did something absolutely wrong. But in this case, it's not even that. It's not fights. It's not family. It's not any of that. It's just life, right? And you know, I don't know. I mean, anyways, thank you. Thank you really, truly, for sharing this with me. I think it's given me a lot to think about, and I think it's going to give a lot of people a lot to think about too as they go through this journey. I definitely think you should start to do a lot more public stuff with talking to men, emphasis on the men, about and we'll be following that journey. You guys can find Demilade on Instagram. Well, he's already told you he's everywhere. Snapchat, Threads, everything, but it's at Demilade R, right? Just
Yeah,
that,
I'm
right?
everywhere. Yeah,
Black Canvas, you can follow also Black Canvas MJ, I think is what it is,
yeah.
right?
Black Canvas NG. Yeah, on
NG,
Instagram.
of course,
NG.
NG
Yeah,
on Instagram. And you said you're doing something.
yeah. Raptors Properties Real Estate.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this so much, and I feel like we should have a part two at some point when you're when you're back into the love journey. I think we definitely have to come back and talk about what you learned in another space of time.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be glad to be back.
All right.
Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Just like you would share with friends about a great book you read, don't forget to share this if you enjoyed it. Connect with us on IG and Twitter at TWWPcast and get details on the website at worldwithoutpeople.org. And hey, remember to make loving others the story of your life. Until next time, this is the world without people.